Yeah, thank you. For those of you that know me, I'm Brandon, and for those of you that don't, I'm still Brandon, but I'm based out of Nashville, one of our consultants, and here to talk to you about a feature that I've been looking forward to and working with some of our clients ever since they announced the basis for it back when 25R1 was in beta, and when 2401 is when, that time when they started talking about the need for lot and serial attributes. Now, when they were released, they were kind of created for distribution and didn't really have the ability to enter in anywhere and out of the box except for on receipt screens. So um, we've already done some workarounds for that, but luckily, as part of 25R2, they have released the ability to assign lot and serial attributes as items are manufactured or released at the end of a manufacturing step. So this is going to be when the lot and serial, either the serialized item or when the lot is created. So it's going to be on that last operation usually when you are creating these items and doing that. Now, there are some things that we need to assign to do this, but again, these are going to be things that information that's captured at the manufacturing process, where that information, is most readily available there. So is there testing, is there quality rate related things that your team members are putting in? Is there anything appearance related? Maybe you have slight differences in color and you want to differentiate that way. That's something you can report on if it's entered as it's manufactured. So to dig into that a little bit, there's a few things we need to make sure we do. First off, you do have to have your lot serial attributes enabled. By the way, the cursor, I was made fun of for how big and colorful it was in the past, so I made it bigger and more colorful just to kind of go with the flow of things, and a business dog up here approves. Um, so once you've enabled that, there's a few things that we need to do. So the first important thing is making sure that you have your lot or serial class set up to either track serial or lot numbers. If you're working with lot numbers or serial numbers now, you're going to be used to that. But just make sure that it is set to one that is set to track one of those. And if you've used that at all up to this point, you know that this attributes, which they've moved from the right down here to the bottom, is something that we can do here. Now, it just has to be an attribute, just like anywhere else in the system that you add to the system. So we're going to put in my best features. And we're just going to, just give the options there. So we're, strong jawline, lie. Muscular frame, lie. Anyway, you get the picture. So once the attribute has been created, we can go into our lot and serial class. Add it to our lot and serial class, and then it will be available on the manufacturing screen. Now, I do want to point out there's only one set of attributes per lot serial class. So if you want to have different entry per different manufactured items, you will need to copy the lot serial class and assign just maybe you can just take an exact copy of one and assign it to the new one so that you can have that new set of attributes. So I will save that. And then all the setup here is now done. If I go into my production order, I have this release so that I can, report production against it. I want to point out that as when I go to create my move transaction, this has multiple operations. If I operation 10 is highlighted here by default because I haven't recorded anything. I'm not going to have anything yet. So just want to make sure that this can only happen when we're reporting against our last operations. Now I am set to backward report though. So if I go and change this operation, if you want to look, you can just manually select it that way. And I click my line details. Ah, there it is. So just have a couple options there. Now I want to point out this is like for this a lot serial class, it's serial item specific. So it will be a new attribute value that can be input in on each serialized item. So pretty neat feature. Again, um, I know some people that have been wanting that, mentioned even over a year ago that lot and serial attributes were important to them, that this was the ability to do it within the manufacturing process was important. So can't do it at every step of the process, but as of right now, you can do it out of the box with that final report feature. So that is it for the my first topic, but I do want to talk about staying in that manufacturing um, vein and talking about just the new processing features they have for inventory related transactions. So anybody that's been doing manufacturing within Acumatica knows that when you create a move transaction or maybe even a labor transaction, there's a lot of stuff that happens in the background as far as different types of costing coming from different types of, is it material cost? Is it an overhead cost? Is it a labor cost? So they've created a new production transaction within the inventory module and interacting with the manufacturing module that just kind of simplifies the view here and helps us calculate variable overhead a little bit earlier in the process, maybe, if that's important to you. And just like if you're trying to troubleshoot maybe why your manufacturing costs are off, it'll help you kind of just simplify that audit trail. So in order to demonstrate this, what we do need to turn on, and again, as you notice here, I've already turned it on and it's kind of grayed out. So once you kind of turn this on, it is a little bit harder to reverse. But if you this use new release process on the production preferences screen, if we look at that, it's going to tell you that it's going to interface with that release IN documents, and it's going to just help us with calculating that variable overhead a little bit sooner. Maybe that is, like I said, an important thing to you or not. But going into that, in order to do this, we also, like I said, it's an interface between the inventory module and the manufacturing module. So we also have to go on the inventory preferences and we have to create a new numbering sequence here. That is, it's a conglomeration of a few more of these transactions that you can actually report multiple IN types of transactional documents on the same production transaction. So it's not really doing a whole lot different. It's just kind of maybe simplifying it and making a few less transactions. So if I go over now into a production order, for example, and say I go back in, let's just create a new transaction. So I remove that from hold so that I can release it. And I'm going to let that release. So if you've been in manufacturing Acumatica before this point, you've used to maybe looking at this event screen and kind of seeing some of these transactions here. It created both a cost transaction related to the move transaction. I did, the cost was created automatically. But if I go back over to this inventory and you see under the transactions, I click show all, this production transactions is going to show. And and just go to my latest one. Refresh this. Go and show you. It is going to have a breakdown, maybe just a more aggregated view of what you're looking at, what you've been used to looking at in the past. It also still has links to your batch number information and links to your manufacturing batch numbers. Now, it will do the one that created the transaction, not necessarily all the feeding ones, but all that information will be displayed in the cost sections if there was related transactions. Again, this was created by a move transaction, which created a receipt, created a cost, all these different things. So again, this one's not life-changing, but it is just maybe helping if you are constantly researching variances in your manufacturing costs. This might give you a better view and then just try to help you in troubleshooting that.